Welcome, wildcards and rifters. We have today a bunch of special guests because today is all about rifts and all the awesome things that are coming up and which just got delivered. So glad about that. So welcome to the show, Johnny, Aaron, PK, and of course Sean, the man, the genius behind it all. So let's talk some rifts, guys. First, like, who's got their books in? 'Cause I know Sean's got his book, but there it is. There it is, PK. Right, give it a little kisses. We were talking in the pre-show about how amazing they smell. It's like drugs for gamers, like the fresh smell of ink on a brand new book, like even and the sound of cracking the spine for the first time. Oh yeah, let's get in on that. Let's go see this. Where's the solo? Oh yes, so pretty,
so beautiful, awesome. And look, you get it twice. 2 covers.
Isn't that technically 3?
3 covers. No one gives you this kind of value.
No, you can't see that. Oh yeah, see? What's going on? What's going on here? See, yeah, we'll get to that. We will get to that.
We will get to that.
You guys can't.
Well, Gene here.
So yeah, congratulations
if we
on.
Make a big deal about it. That would not have been a thing at all. People would be like freeze framing that. But since we all freaked out,
we'll get to it, guys. You don't have to stop and rewind. We'll get to it in a moment.
Right. Oh,
we'll
yeah,
never talk
it's good
about
stuff.
it again.
Yeah, that is the plan. We're just gonna leave that. That's just a thing. Just anymore.
People just watch us rewind us screaming over and over again.
Well, yeah. Now they know we all scream like little girls too. It's like sad. The whole badass riffs vibe right out the window. We can't show that yet. That's spoiling some cool. Yeah.
It's like the supernatural rule. We got to be like talking really low. We'll talk about anything.
Right. Oh my god! It is Friday, and you can tell, but we are excited. So yes, super excited that Rifts Atlantis is now getting the people in their hands. Amazing work there, team. It is. We're so glad that like the global shipping crisis finally spit out a product for you guys. It is. It looks so good. It really
and
is.
I want to say thanks, by the way, on that note, to all the wonderful people behind the scenes at Pinnacle that worked really hard on this, especially Jody and Simon and Christine and all the support crew, because they help answer your questions when something goes wrong during crazy times like such as this. But they're also putting in a lot of effort behind the scenes to make sure that things can happen. Of course, Shane making sure that all of it can happen, right? So we just want to throw out our thanks for that because I know that this was an ordeal, and it can be really tough sometimes. Yeah,
but it's not slowing us down. I mean, we've got 2 different big projects soon to be coming for Rifts. So let's get into that, guys. So what have you been working on? I mean, now that Rifts Atlantis is actually in people's hands, we haven't just because shipping has been delayed. You guys haven't been waiting on production stuff. So tell us what's in the pipeline. What are we gonna see next coming to crowdfunder near you?
Well, next thing coming to probably a Kickstarter near you is going to be both of the announced projects, Terror on the Dark Frontier and The Land of 1,000 Islands. So I'm really excited to introduce everyone to the SavageRifts development team, where most of the members here, we've got Mr. Johnny Racha, at least on my screen, Mr. PK Levine, Mr. Aaron Burkett. But they've all been helping out with writing and developing. They deal with me on a weekly basis. We have meetings. It's terrifying.
You should feel really sorry.
But no, we've got some really great stuff. Because of the delay for Atlantis, we decided that we need to jam-pack everything we can into one big Kickstarter, since part of the thing is we need to get the previous material into the hands of our fans before we announce and crowdfund and all that, the next project. We think that's really important. I totally agree with that. But the team has been hard at work, and I think you're going to really enjoy a lot of the material you see from them. We have Johnny already released his one-sheet adventure, but we'll be probably putting out PKs and Aaron's as well sometime soon. And if other fans that are familiar with Operation Astria, that's also another member of the team, John Stevens, who's worked on a lot of this stuff as well. So But yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Aaron, do you want to tell people a little bit about Terror on the Dark Frontier?
Yeah, Terror on the Dark Frontier is how specific can I get? It's an adventure box.
want,
Specific,
man.
yeah.
Okay, great.
Dive in,
it's an
dive in.
adventure. It's an adventure box set in a arguably underdeveloped section of the SavageRifts world. Not necessarily Palladium Rifts, but SavageRifts. It's a set in. It provides a bleeding Kansas powder keg. The Great Plains are the freeway across the North American continent, and Kansas is the intersection. The black market is moving goods through the territory. The coalition wants to expand there. Tolkien refugees are fleeing across it, heading south and east and westward. The Colorado baronies are just outside of the area. Everybody wants this territory. Everybody wants the turf, but the ground there, it's all built on it's an unsteady ground. It's all built on sand, and it might all fall out beneath you. Yeah,
and you've also got the Comanche Preserve there that's butting up against the coalition expansion. And as you can see in the new North American map that we came out with for the American Armageddon Kickstarter, that's that coalition expansion territory, the coalition frontier, is mostly Oklahoma and then Kansas and a little bit up north of that. And so, yeah, that's a really great region with a lot of different conflict. It's got a very cool Wild West, a lot of Wild West themes, but you also have Simvan monster tribes moving through there, as well as Psystalker clans, and so it's pretty exciting stuff. And we think that I think that you guys are going to really enjoy the adventure. We have 18 or 19 adventures through the core plot point campaign.
I'm going to lowball it and say 18, but there's also maybe 10 more Savage Tales on top of that.
Right. And as well as adventure hooks and stuff like that. And
an iconic framework or two.
Yes, we have some iconic frameworks. We have the Paradox Shaman. We have the Cyber Slinger, the Wired Gunslinger, which is the crazy version of a gunslinger. Now I've got Kevin making faces at me through my window. Thanks, Kev.
Don't forget the Preacher.
Oh, and the Preacher. Right. I'm excited about that one, too. So, Kevin, you going to come dive in?
I did not. He's lying. He's making
Kevin.
stuff up. I don't do silly things. Well, okay, maybe I do silly
things. You did hire me.
Do it.
You know.
Oh, that's true.
As your business partner. It's even sillier.
Oh my God! We're getting photobombed by celebrity guests. I mean, it truly is a Friday. I love it.
It's such a Friday, and we're all just trying to relax. But we're like, the whole team here is getting ready for GenCon, so we're super stoked for that.
So as long as you mention it, like you're on the hook, man. So where can people find you at GenCon? What's the stuff?
So I will be at GenCon online. I will not be attending GenCon personally. I'll be helping to hold down the fort and stuff here. But Kevin, and then we are going to be at, I forget the exact booth number. It's right near one of the entrances. So if you go check out the weekly update, we have a booth right near one of the two main entrances, and just to the left of it when you come in. So we're near, I think, Upper Deck and a couple of other big local RPG companies. So
Google says you're a booth 903.
Well, then maybe Google's right. I don't remember.
I can check too what booth we're at, but yes.
We have a pretty cool standing tower thing that I think is going to look neat, that you should be able to see because it should tower above the other nearby booths. We assembled it here. Hopefully it will survive transit and setup.
And worst comes to worst, you could pop a couple archers up there and just take out the competition, right? I mean, that's what towers are for.
Right. Yeah. Well, and the other thing that's cool, get the GenCon, there's a coupon booklet. We actually have a big sale at GenCon, a special sale, where we're going to be offering a discount on all of our hardcovers, which have been super duper popular, including the new 30th anniversary RIFTS hardcover of the original RIFTS printing. So, with a bunch of really cool stuff at the end of it about the history of Palladium books, and it even has the cover of every single RIFTS book ever released, including SavageRifts books. So that's exciting as well.
Oh, hot damn, that's cool.
Yeah, I think it's pretty neat stuff.
I like that.
But so hopefully everybody gets to check that out, and you can go and you can meet Kevin and Wayne. Wayne is the editor extraordinaire for the Rifter, and Kevin Simbita is, of course, the creator of the vast majority of anything published ever by Palladium Books. Even if his name's not on it, he might have rewritten 25% of it or added a big chunk of the book. So definitely head over there. We have scheduled, actually, Johnny, do you have those times and places for
just
for a couple of little things?
Pulled it up. So on I'm hoping I have this correct, and I promise everybody if I don't, I'll update. But on the 5th, on August 5th, at 11 p.m., it is 11 p.m., that's when they gave us. But in Pennsylvania Station A is the room name. I'm going to be up on the stage with Kevin himself, and we're going to be talking about future Palladium stuff. So that's and if we can pipe you in, Sean, great, we'll pipe you in. If you don't want to, if you have enough of me, that's fine. But that's when Kevin and I are going to be talking about future Palladium stuff. So, and that's a live. Come into the room and you throw stuff at us. I would prefer food because it's 11. We'll be hungry. So, but come in and talk with us. That would be awesome. And then for an online event, Sean and I are going to be talking. That's in a separate email. So now I also love that this is serving as the update for Sean, because Sean does not know these yet when I was telling this.
We're doing it live!
He's being voluntold.
We are on the 6th, Sean, the next day. And I think we are at... time. All right. I think it's 7 p.m.
Okay. Cool. That's your
but I
That's
just
Saturday?
realized now, I don't know. Yes, but I don't know what time zone I just realized now, because this is coming from Indiana and I'm Eastern time and so are you. So
Yeah.
I promise everyone that cares about this, I'll get out more accurate times. But sometime on the Saturday evening, tune in and listen to us talking about.
And these are official events, so you should be able to easily search.
Yes,
for
these
it
are now
on
these
the
are
website.
active and listed. So if you go to the GenCon,
Right.
if you don't trust me, which is a smart move, go to the GenCon events page, and these are live. They're just listed as live Q&A with Sean and live Q&A with Kevin. So these are findable on the GenCon page now.
Indian
Ladies
is
and
Eastern time
gentlemen, there's a
zone.
reason
So
why he has an editor. Yeah, no, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Aaron?
Indiana is Eastern time zone, so you're good.
Oh, we should be good then.
Is that true?
All should be
Yeah.
copacetic.
It's
Eastern time, the
Eastern
correct
Chicago.
time zone.
I don't know
one
exactly,
true
'cause I have no
time
idea.
zone.
Everything over here confuses me. So
Yeah, we have so much fun guessing who's in what time zone because everybody's across the country. There are more misplannings based upon time zones than anything else. And not that we need to do like the Soviet Russia thing where it's like one time zone for the entire country. Can you imagine that? 8 a.m. for you is actually 6 p.m. because you're 3,000 miles away from everybody
in
else,
Soviet
in
Russia,
Moscow.
maybe, yeah.
Right?
Well,
Brazil does that.
yeah.
CST.
Yeah, it's something.
I will say, just to get back to, by the way, with Terror on the Dark Frontier, since I know a lot of people have tuned in, they want to hear about this. This is going to be a boxed adventure set. It's going to have a separate booklet for the campaign, a separate booklet for players, right? And we are looking at what kind of cool goodies we can include. Is definitely going to include multiple pawn sheets, because in addition to a lot of the character-facing options, we're also bringing in a lot of monsters that were in for traditional Palladium releases. Are really classic monsters like the Black Fairy and some of the other stuff that you
Fury
might be familiar
Beetles.
with. Fury Beetles, right? The Gwilax. I always like those, but just a lot of cool stuff that people are familiar with that you may not have seen print in SavageRifts yet. So this is going to be a real great set, and they'll be coming with the pawns in the box with them. So that's really awesome too. You'll get new stuff and pawns for it. Along with it, we look to have some cool stuff like wanted posters to hand out, maybe some badges. I don't know.
Badges! Badges!
We don't need those stinking badges.
We need some badges. We always need badges. Come on now.
I like the idea of stickers, but I think it's too much.
I was on the half of the team that I did no work on Terror on the Dark Frontier at all. And I am for anyone that's in my camp, I am from the camp that never buys pre-adventures for anything, right? I never buy adventure material. I write all my own stuff. I run my own stuff. And I got to read all the manuscripts and everything, obviously, and I'm drooling over this thing. Not only is the adventure material super, super cool, but it's packaged inside campaign setting book, right? Like you're not just getting an adventure that you have to run on the rails for your players. You're getting this whole, I love the term bleeding canvas, Aaron, I'm stealing it, but you get this whole enormous world to play in. You can pick and choose out of these things. You can sandbox this. You could run none of the adventures, and the setting and all the cool stuff going on would still be so wild and worth getting. So as someone who I am 100% the biggest skeptic of pre-written adventure material, and I never do it. And I would be grabbing this in a heartbeat if I wasn't already getting it, because haha, I'm on the inside. But just to give the plug as someone who didn't write it and therefore can say these things without it being bragging,
like
it's
cringe.
amazing. It's it's so good.
Well, and PK, you also play tested a lot of it, and you were on the writing team working on Terror. So, do you want to share some of your feelings about it overall?
Yeah, like Johnny, I haven't really done much to it except for a little bit of advice and such, but I've been running it. And I will say, like, the adventures themselves are really fun, really out there, and inventive and interesting, to where my players did not see things coming, and they kept putting themselves in positions where they're like, well, the logical thing to do would be to do this, but they hadn't looked deep enough, and then because they didn't, it bit them in the butt. And I love when adventures do that, because absolutely, that's great. But I've also, since having this, have used it not just for the adventures, but I mean, it's basically like World Book CS Frontier, like it really expands the CS Frontier area. And my favorite thing about that is, like, a lot of the players who weren't super familiar with Rifts in our game would look at the map. Like, actually, let me real quick. Like, you look at, let's see if I can get it up. Bam.
Uh-oh.
Where'd I go? Okay, so you look at the map. Boom, boom. Here.
There you go.
And it's like, boom, CS Frontier. And they see that and they're like, oh, that's a coalition state. And I'm like, no. Had to explain to them, orange means that the coalition claims to control that territory, but in no way, shape, or form do they actually control that territory. And the new mapped area that's included with that's the map of Terror on the Dark Frontier expands that and really shows areas of control, the Comanche Preserve in the center, where the CS actually has frontier areas and other things, and it just fleshes out that area tremendously. So that's one of my favorite things about it.
So as long as we've got you on the big screen, you just got your Atlantis stuff, and do you want to unbox those dossiers, because those are super cool, and we haven't really shown those off to people yet. I think Johnny's got his paper printout version.
I know. Come on, please.
Okay, so if you're on the forums and you've looked on the forums, you will see people on and the Discord and other things, RPGNet. People have been saying these are the sleeper hit of this. Like, for real, if you did not kickstart, and I realize it sounds like an advertisement, but I swear it's not. I get no money off of it.
I didn't pay him anything, guys. I swear.
I get nothing. I'm a freelancer. I'm not on the payroll, so technically, this is not online. Anyways, these are ridiculous. Like, I was telling Chris earlier that I like the R-type cards that Pinnacle has done in other sets, and they're nice, but I love these because you get so much info on them. So, first off, you get a freaking ton of them here.
Look at
I feel dumb. What's the total? 18. Feels more, because they're just, look at freaking so many of these.
It's 12 original and then 6 more that we did for.
They're massive. The box is just full of it. But anyways, the actual dossiers. So you get the character, and this is a two-sided, so you get like this awesome art, and then you get their quote and their story, and you can pause if you want to read that. And then when you open it up, you get the actual character sheet, and like, look at that. So not only a little mini picture and all the important stuff like your attributes and your gear here, then over here, not just the hindrances and your edges and stuff, but what they mean. Like a quick summary of everything that you kind of need to know. Basically,
Yeah. And just to say, just throw in there, like, similarly, I tried to write a quote for each person, say their different hindrances. If it was something that didn't need a ton of mechanical information, you have different quotes and how that character would kind of vocalize that portion of their hindrances or complications, stuff like that.
And I just want to throw in there that at the Palladium open house a few months ago, I ran a one-shot of SavageRifts where I just printed out these and gave them to a lot of people that had never played SavageRifts before. These were such a slam dunk. People not only loved them, and I just got tons of tremendously positive feedback, but I had 5 players at the table that had never played SavageRifts, and we had no rules friction. We had nobody have to stop and ask anything. We had nobody had to ask, how do I do that? It was just people picked these up and played. So if you are looking for just the easiest way in the world to grab a group of people, just deal these out and start playing, this is it, right? And these are, there's 18 of these. It's a nice set of variation. These work as NPCs if you need something on the spot. They work as, somebody brought a friend and they're only going to play one night and you just want to jump in. You've got something ready to go. So these are just so amazing. And they look great. Look how good these look.
Right. I mean, there's just something about being able to like have a fold and have, double sides, like even just versus like an actual printout character sheet. There's just something about like the size of it and like, I don't know, the fact they come in a box. I'm all for the boxes. Everything you can shove in a box, it's so cool. One, it keeps them like nice and handy.
Oh man, that one looks familiar.
Yeah. Someone really funny and handsome wrote that one. It looks like.
That could be
Man.
Well, wow! I didn't realize that people had taken to them so positively. I'm really happy to hear that. It was a lot of work designing them and condensing the information for a Rifts character into a fun, readable design. So I'm glad everyone's really enjoying it.
Yeah, we might have to do more of these. Like, hint.
Oh, of course. Yes, absolutely. We're definitely be doing more of these. We already have it planned for South America as well. Yep, and Terror. So, and that's one of the other things I wanted to throw out there is that we're really into character and story and narrative and world building. And one of the things that was a really positive experience, I reached out in a few various social media places, and I had a lot of people contact me. And as we were working on the very early versions of Terror on the Dark Frontier, and got a lot of information from other Native Americans, or we had a woman who works as a sensitivity reader often. She's a writer herself. She's Comanche, and she was able to share with us a lot of really great stuff. So we were really excited about including a lot of that culture into this adventure. Of course, in the end, it is our design, but we really appreciate everyone who reached out to us and communicated with us about that unique culture, and we tried to share it. I think it'll be some cool stuff that it's without getting too complex or in depth, right? But the sort of the gift economy that exists in a lot of traditional Comanche society and other things like that, I think people will really enjoy and bring a little more depth and verisimilitude to the setting. So not just focused on the cowboys, right? And so I think that's really fun to do as well. But that's the big plan for Terror on the Dark Frontier. And originally the idea was to bring that out as the next big product for SavageRifts, but with the craziness that's been going on in the world, we decided to go ahead and Shane made the decision, Shane and Simon, and as a team, we talked about it, but we'd already been prepping the manuscript with really great writing by folks like Johnny Racha and P.K. Levine and Ross Watson.
And not Aaron. because his writing just.
I have words in there. I do have
He
some
does have
words.
You
words.
do have some words in there, yes.
We let him leak a little bit of his brain into little.
And we might get some more words. It's not quite.
We try to
that
minimize
manuscript
contagion.
is at about, I think, 90%, 95%.
Yeah.
But we decided we need to go ahead and get this lined up for the Kickstarter as well, because of how crazy things are right now. We want to make sure that we get everybody as much as we can all at once, along with the pawn set 2, which is going to be insane. And I'm going to talk about South America, or the Land of 1,000 Islands, and the pawn set 2 in just a moment. But first, I think this is the proper time to reveal the full cover of Terror on the Dark Frontier by the illustrious Aaron J. Riley. So Aaron J. Riley is a wonderful artist, a wonderful guy to work with, and he's done a lot of my favorite Rifts for Savage Worlds illustrations, and this is another one. So
I love it so much.
It's good.
It's just so good that I'm mad that it's going to be the cover of a book, because that means any part of it will be obscured by words. And there's like there's nowhere I want words to be on this, right? Because just everything, the silhouetted open skull in the background, even down to the details of the dirt in the front. Like, I don't want any of this to have any BS writing on it.
Well, Johnny, we live in an age of miracles, and you could probably get a high-resolution copy of this image from Sean and do a print-on-demand poster.
well, maybe
you could throw a poster in the box, right?
Maybe we need to have a
stretch
poster
goal.
in the box or something.
Yeah, I was gonna say
I mean-
maybe stretch goal poster in. Who knows?
Other side of the map.
Or
We could
the other
help.
side of the map, right? Because we
Oh.
will need to do a South America map as well. So
Yep.
we will see. We'll see what we can do. I'd love to get you guys a really great print of this. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. I actually didn't expect the skull thing in the background, to the shadow, to look so dang cool. I was like, we'll just do kind of a skull outline, and I gave it, I gave the request out, and then Aaron nailed it so hard. I was like, well, I was thinking we could just put text over that, but I don't. We'll see what happens with the.
There's like maybe a
layout.
tiny little corner of gray space up there where we could print the name of the book, and then that's it.
Yeah, but no, I'm really, really happy and impressed with it. I think it has the right vibe, and that's the whole thing with Terror on the Dark Frontier. Is it's not just the Coalition and the Comanche Preserve and all these, these other things butting up. It also includes other themes of some dark terrors that are coming in the night and ravaging the land, as has been hinted at in the original Rifts books for the New West, for Aftermath.
Yeah, the tentacles,
Spirit
man.
West.
The tentacles have been there. They've been there the whole time.
This
Are
is
those
still
tentacles,
Rifts,
though?
everybody, right?
Are those tentacles, though? Who can say?
Right.
Shh.
Mm.
Don't.
Is that a skull?
We're not spoiling, right?
Is that a skull?
We're not spoiling the big secrets, right?
So we won't. No more spoilers. But hey, we are really super duper excited about it, and just gassed to have such awesome art by Aaron J. Riley. And also the same thing goes. I mean, again, he did the cover for Atlantis and the Demon Seas. I commissioned it, but you never know how it's going to turn out. And every time I've sent him a request, he just does it with aplomb. So wonderful guy to work with. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about the Land of 1,000 Islands.
My favorite part of Rifts.
Same.
Yeah, is there anything cool in this book, guys? Maybe Johnny, what's the cool? Is there anything cool in your section? PK?
It's mostly filler.
Yeah.
No, this is, as somebody, we're all old school diehard Rifts heads, and everyone remembers this, right? Everyone, maybe not everyone, I remember getting South America 1, right? I mean, when it got printed and picking this up, and just my copy was so ruined that when we started working on the manuscript for SavageRifts, I had to buy a new copy because mine was no longer like functionally usable to reference anymore. And we all remember then having to wait because there was another one, and it's South America 1, and we're like, 1? And they're like, oh yeah, you're not fitting all of this into one book. And so our book is dense because we did fit all of this into one book. We did take all of this stuff. So the favorites are there. The number of discussions we had as a team about how to fit, everything in here, and how to get all of the best stuff and preserve the amazing, cool themes of it while still giving you so much new stuff to play with in the Savage setting. It's absolutely incredible. And now I feel bad because I said all that stuff about Terror having not written it, but I did write like a third of the South America book, and it's still great. And the stuff I wrote is great, and I'm totally fine saying it. And the stuff that PK wrote is amazing, and stuff that Ross wrote is amazing. So it is so good. I have had the pleasure of, I've been running now a SavageRifts game where I've got a bunch of people play testing the stuff that's in this book. So I've been live using it. I've been running a campaign set in Colombia. It's so fun. So this is just everything from a whole new continent and setting to look through. That you can, be from and explore all of these new fun things to play. We absolutely do not have time for me to do all of the rants I want to do on how great this is. But as somebody, Aaron is like texting me that I'm pronouncing things incorrectly. All right. Quiet you. I'm a writer.
Not a reader. Not a reader.
I'm a writer, not a talker.
Yeah.
I'm not a pitch man.
Just it's pronounced.
Well, no, but you got so. What's one of the biggest things that you worked on was, I would say, the AntiMonster.
I would say the AntiMonster.
But then that would be selling the bio.
The Biomancer. That's because I think what I've heard as someone who lurks on all of our forums and everything else is a ton of people asking, "Hey, when are you ever going to do Biomancy? When are you going to do Biomancer?" There,
right. I couldn't fit it in Atlantis, right? There was just no room with the biowizardry and the tattoo magic and stone magic. Right.
It's time.
I felt like that was a bridge too far.
Yeah, you already have 3. Push it to the next one.
Yeah, but all I'm saying is, if you want your giant animated trees and you want your fire-breathing bat lizard cats, I mean, you've got it, right? It's all here. So if you want to, all the cool monsters and things that the Lemurians have and are riding around on, if you want to make them yourself, you can make them yourself. All this stuff is really fun to do. AntiMonsters have been a favorite for a long time, just on how incredibly cool they are, how cool they look, the vibe of them, these enormous culture heroes. It was so interesting to do a very different, someone that fills the Cyber Knight role very differently. It's like this hero of the people that fights supernatural evil things, but in North America, they're psychic paladins, right? They're often supposed to be these charming, handsome knights in shining out, and then you get to South America, it's like, oh no, it's a giant monster thing. It's this horrific.
They made their own nightmares.
Right.
Yeah. I have become a monster to destroy monsters. Yeah.
Yep. And they're getting parades, right? And then you go to the country they're from, Aaron, and they get parades and they get celebrations. And
Viva Colombia!
Right. So I'm really happy with it. I'm really happy.
I mean, you had the idea to kind of give them a luchador slant, right?
I don't think I did have that idea. I feel like they just are that.
I think that there was a little bit of the performance, in front of the troops, being the hero on the front line, inspiring everyone around them. That's what
I will spoil a little bit and say that in this iteration of them in Savage, you do get a little bit of control over customizing your sort of superhero persona as an anti-monster, and you get to kind of customize what niche in that mythology you get to fill. So the anti-monsters are very unique. They're not all carbon copies of each other. They're not assembly line made. Everyone is bespoke. And as you're building yours, and as you're continuing to gain in fame, and which directly impacts your abilities, how famous and awesome you are in your homeland, you get to continually develop your persona, even manifesting as new abilities. So a lot of fun.
So we're gonna have to put Savage Swagger on the dossier cards and have a little rating system.
little thing for cheer section.
This will cause people to just endlessly, argue about what's cooler when rifts, right? Is trying to stack stuff.
Oh, yeah, that argument hasn't been going on for
right. Stack stuff like that up against, say, demigods and stuff like that. Which, by the way, PK.
Yeah, that's people have been asking. I also, as you know, obsessively live on the forums. Not just not just peg forums, but also, everything from Reddit to RPGNet to, well, you name it, I'm probably at least lurking there, spying on you and engaging in conversations and such. So I know, like, people have been talking about South America, like some of the things that they're expecting and interested in. The Demigod is always clearly near the top of that list. Since in South America, one of the nations, for those who don't know, is called the Empire of the Sun. They were founded by the actual Incan gods. And their children, the demigods called the True Incans, are still very influential in the Empire. So this was the book. Thank you. Yes. This was the book where we said, we definitely need to include the demigod. And I will say I'm really glad. I'm really very proud of the way it turned out, because where sometimes it was kind of easy with the demigods to look at it as almost like a superhero thing and just pick powers or pick abilities and view it mechanically. We've taken a very different or a very more focused approach on your parentage. Like, the god that you're descended from is super important. A demigod of Zeus, a demigod of Poseidon, and a demigod of, like, Hephaestus are all going to feel very different. They're going to have different abilities, and they're going to manifest differently. And
that's the other thing that I think you did a really good job with is he's, PK, and the team had a lot of input, and so I've seen this going through iterations. It's been really, really great stuff. But the cool thing is that a lot of times when you have these ancient pantheons, they all have the All-Father or a mother, a symbol of, the god of war or the underworld. And
pulling about archetypes.
Right. Pulling in those archetypes has been really neat, because with these ground rules, I think game masters and players are extremely empowered to build characters that fit under the Egyptian pantheon or the Norse pantheons or the Greek or Roman pantheons, or the South American ones, right, with the Incans. So I think that you could do this with a lot of. I mean, you could go to Persia, you could go to India, and make these same types of characters. I think that's one of the really beautiful things here. That is really coming to pass, and this book also has the priests, right, of these different sorts of deities and things like that as well. Do you want to talk about that, PK?
Yeah, well, I mean, basically, this was the obvious book to kind of handle the more religious classes. It just made sense to go for those frameworks and packages that had a little more tie to the gods. So, for example, with the priest, we're rolling that out as a Mars class, probably shocking no one, based around miracles. But the interesting thing about the priest is the approach that we've been taking is whenever there is a specific religion that should have specific abilities. Like, obviously, an Incan priest aka a sun priest, should be different from a voodoo priest, but they both still are priests. So where those come in is the iconic edges. Sun priest is an iconic edge, and it adds that Inca flavor that the sun priest would need. Voodoo priest, iconic edge, adds that voodoo flavor that they're going to need, that they would appropriately have. And without any flavor, it's fine, because the package still handles just a general priest just fine. In fact, I believe, Aaron, with we were talking about the preacher in the Terror on the Dark Frontier is going to use the priest package, but I think you were saying that doesn't really need an iconic edge because it's just, well, that's just a classic preacher, right?
Right. It very much sets the baseline, operates off of a certain baseline that the Mars fulfills. Yeah.
But with the fact that we can just have an iconic edge for any religion that needs specific needs for the priest, it just expands it to be kind of like the demigod. This is going to be a package that's going to be almost infinitely customizable.
And all this is still in development, so we're sharing a lot of details. I just want to make sure everybody knows. I still haven't done my final editing pass on this. We're still playtesting a lot. We're of course going to do the regular fan feedback period. So if you really want to see this first and give us your feedback, we're super interested in that to make sure that everyone feels like the things that they're interested in playing have all been represented well. And having part of your game. But we've also got some really great stuff for the line makers. the Nazca Line Makers, the Nazca Line Warriors. We've got what else do we have? We have the Gizmoteer, the Amaki Duelist. We have
Blood Riders.
the Blood Riders, the Megaversal Legionnaires. I mean, we have got. And I love the Universal or Megaversal Legion. We've got so much cool stuff. And the best part about this is that this is one of those books. So, and if any Palladium fans that maybe haven't read much into the SavageRifts stuff are listening, or if you're just an old Palladium fan and or someone who hasn't tried out SavageRifts, one of the things that we really enjoy is we approach this whole series like, yes, we're giving you all the rules bits you need to do the cool stuff, all the major cool stuff. We try not to miss the core fun stuff that you need. But on the other hand, when it comes to the lore, we want to give a broad overview so that new players can get in. And this is also for anybody who's not familiar with Palladium Rifts. But we also list every single book that it comes from. And the whole point is that Palladium, we're not trying to replace the Palladium, like 100+ Palladium books for Rifts. We are trying to make this an easier entry point for people and catch up the timeline. All SavageRifts books are set in 109 PA, all the world books. And so we're trying to catch up that timeline, make it an even keel thing. It's similar to Rifts Aftermath for fans who are Palladium fans. And so I think that's one of the really fun things about this book, actually. It made me nervous at first. I talked to some people. I think I gotten some ideas from PK, a couple of buddy of mine's, Ross. But I was putting together a big document for Kevin while we were still outlining the book to make sure I understood the interrelationship between all the major powers. And, I took it to Kevin and he read it and he was like, Sean, who wrote this? And I was like, oh crap, he hates it. And he said, no, I said, well, I had some input from friends, but I wrote it. And he's like, oh, it's great. It's awesome. It's amazing. I love how you bring up the timeline to 109 PA, because the original books were only set in 102 to 103 PA. All of them were saying, war's brewing. This is about to happen. This is about to happen over here. And we have seen those things play out. You can read about that in this new book. And you're going to see there are new alliances and things that I don't think anyone would have expected, like with the Archons. So I think that they're them in Omagua. So I think there's some really interesting takes. The Megaversal Legion, we're really expanding on the lore there. That's one of the things that I originally pitched to Kevin, and I've got some really great material for. I think people will really enjoy it. And as long as they don't kill each other when they meet, I think that the Megaversal Legion and the Tomorrow Legion could be really great friends. It's a really neat book, and we've got a lot of cool material. The art is in progress, and coming along with it is a massive, ridiculously stupid, massive pawn art request that Alita and the team at Sigil Entertainment are already churning through. It was 98 pages in Word, just the pawn request list.
Yeah.
So it's like 100 and I think it was like 100. And
we all worked on it. There was
everyone worked on it, right? There was a lot of hard work put into it, and trying to make sure that we get the details right, and that it's canon. It fits the canon. It fits Rifts. And so I'm really excited about that, because we're going back through and we have the opportunity to backfill maybe a lot of things that didn't, for instance, in the Savage Foes in North America, that were not illustrated. A lot of those things are being illustrated and are going to be in this pawn set. But I think the biggest way and the best way to hype you up for pawn set 2 is to show you how awesome pawn set 1 is.
Ooh, hot damn. Let's do this.
So... are you grabbing yours? Okay.
I'm grabbing mine, but it's okay.
You do that. I just have something I want to share when you're done then.
This is a really great... This is included with the pawn set 1. It is a list of all the pawns named, and with the number and their photo on the other side, their image on the other side. Almost all of the pawns also have back art, anyone that's appropriate for, including like the dragon, the hatchling dragon. These pawns look amazing, and it's a big... heavy set for anyone who hasn't seen. I just knocked.
Well, your camera shook when you.
My monitor's like flipped. Yeah. But yeah, PK, did you want to show off anything specifically, or?
Well, okay. So it comes in the box that Sean is showing. Now, if you're like me and you're, well, I know a lot of you are, you ordered 2, and I just wanted to share a life hack. So if you order 2 of these pawn sets and you're like, well, I need to carry these around and that would be convenient, they fit perfectly in the Adventure Box set, which I have carefully modified using advanced Golden Age technology changed from a Rift set to a Rift pawn box set. But no, check it out. They basically fit. Oh, hold on. Oh, I'm knocking crap over. They fit.
Oh, well, that is perfect.
Perfect.
That's just
Look at
right.
Yeah.
that. Look at that.
That's just right.
And, and people are going to be like, oh, wow, did Pinnacle plan that? And the answer, of course, is obviously.
Of course.
It's all Simon's genius. We'll put that. If it's bad,
Yeah.
it's probably my fault.
But
If it's
that
genius,
frees
it's
up-
probably Simon.
that frees up your pawn set to be transformed into
Your map carrier.
using the same technology.
Flat
Yeah.
pack.
Yes.
The glory of
So-
flat pack.
Exactly. So this is just super convenient because then you can hold other stuff. So I use it to hold
Oh, that's
Atlantis map. Let's take a moment and just appreciate that beautiful freaking map right there.
And a lot of thanks to, again,
And of
the folks
course.
at Sigil and Aaron.
Oh,
J. Riley
remember I said you
for
get
that
3?
cover.
There's 4. There's a 4th copy of that sucker.
So, all right, so we've established the precedent that you can totally have some really great cover art on the back of the map.
Right. You're just going to do it again.
Absolutely.
And again.
And actually, I forget. Oh, I lost track.
Do you have the battle maps?
And
Yeah.
that's what I was getting to. So I have the battle maps. I actually just chopped that off and put it in as a holder. Look at Battle Map 1, Map Pack 1, Ruined City. All right, let's do this. Hold on.
And these things are huge. I mean, this will cover your,
I got
your
to
table.
look at that to try to get this in frame just right. I'm a big guy. I am a large man. This is a large map. Can we be clear on this? Look at the size of this thing.
Well, we really wanted something that could be a great tactical battlefield because I know it's personally I have a really hard time finding great maps of ruined cities for use in Rifts.
And here.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
real lack
more-
of post-apocalyptic cityscapes.
Right, or wildernesses, right, with just
Yeah.
the right kind of stuff. And so one side is more demolished, the other side is more reclaimed with shacks and
And here's some.
shanty housing and stuff like that. But it has that more realism or realistic scale that I think is very conducive to gunfights and
Right.
tactical combat and stuff like that. That is that. I was really happy with that one. And then that is the map pack for the Ruined City. Yep. Thank you, PK, so much. And then the other one, this is my favorite. Oh my gosh, it's so good.
So good.
The Magic Stone Pyramid, the Atlantean Pyramid. And show
Yeah,
us. Yeah.
Oh, I know. Yep. I'm on it.
And the thing that's crazy about this is, if you find any temple maps, you think you can find that. No, they're all ruined, broken temples. This is a new, fresh, clean, beautiful.
Yeah, it makes sense, actually. That checks out.
Atlantean temple,
Oh, yeah,
and moving and fighting all your way up to the entrance, which also you get to do as part of the plot point campaign in Atlantis and the Demon Seas, which is a fun scene, I think. But
what happens if you make your way inside, Sean?
well,
What happens
look,
if
there's
you make
more.
your way inside the pyramid?
Yeah, those are so cool.
Oh, these are so good.
with all the actual chambers for healing, meditation, dimensional transport,
So big.
making items, right, all types of stuff. It's great. It's amazing.
Size comparison here. Jesus.
Yeah,
Look
so
at
these
this.
are
They're big.
is a massive map. So yeah,
Just carry that around with me now. It's very slimming. You have a huge map next to you, and it's
Be like, PK, have you lost weight? Shh, no one knows my secret.
They're just lost with their eyes on your architecture.
Yeah.
Oh man, you guys.
Your body is a temple,
Well-
BK. Hey.
It's crumbling, and it's not crumbling.
It's on,
Yeah, I mean, so
Yeah.
we need to get some marketing branding here. We need to get Brother to release the not the P touch, the PK touch, so you can relabel all your boxes. Which tells me we need to do more boxes, man, because these.
And that's what
so
I'm really
useful.
excited about with both this set. I think, like was said, everyone has been so positive about the maps, or I should say, kind of to divide this up, the regional Atlantis map, poster map, flippable, but also those tactical battle maps are just killer, and everyone is raving about these pawns. Everyone I show them to, all the Palladium staff here, we're really happy. You never know until you see it in person.
Right.
And I had seen the Deadlands pawns at Expedition Deadwood. By the way, good job, Landauer. That was awesome.
Right.
But that's it came out so well. The art just almost seems to jump off the page even more with the finish that's on these. The materials. This is going to last you a long time, and we tried to give you as much as we could. We've got a whole squad of Skelelots, a squad of Archie's bots, a squad of Coalition troopers. We've got a squad of Zytikic warriors, right? We've got a squad of a lot of these things. We've got a squad of a full 5 Broadkill, right? And mixed in with these are weapons troopers. And your right, we've got all types of stuff, right? And the dog boys, we've got Simvan, we got all types of stuff. Troopers in body armor, like the Bushmen, right? Very common for a lot of your heavy infantry types and police and militia and Rifts Earth. So all of that, squads of Katani, right, and Vernulians and all types of crazy stuff. In addition to that, we have vehicles, a Mark V APC as seen from above, a squad of Altaran warrior women to accompany your Splugorth slaver.
Right, that piece
which
is so
also
big
seen
and
from
so
above.
cool.
So you can put characters. You can actually battle across the top of this thing, right? The Mark V APC. It's amazing. It's awesome. It's huge. A Titan combat robot. By the way, I'm working on Titan robotics. That should be hitting soon. But no, just all types of cool stuff. But a lot of people have bought 2 boxes because they want to field 10 Coalition infantry, 10 Skelelots, stuff like that. So I think that being able to put this on the table,
squads are actually 15 for everybody watching at home. So if you're thinking about how many pawn sets to grab, it's.
This is so Rifts. It's like you don't need 1, you don't need 2, you need 3, mothers. Come on,
I know
now.
people who have bought 3. I do, and a lot of them are they prefer to game using the Palladium rules, but they love the Savage Worlds products here. And the thing is, I would say this is really, Kevin and I want this to fill the niche for Palladium right now as well. We only have a very limited selection of miniatures, and this can really help fill out your battlefield, your tabletop. And we work really hard on these. Kevin and I work really hard on these art approvals as well. So we put a lot of effort doing it as well.
Yeah.
What's that?
Like, pawns are better than minis. For PCs, mini. Grab a mini. For the GM, pawns, because I'm not going to carry a giant box of minis for everything. There's no way I'm going to have a box of 10 Skelebot minis and then a box of this bit, but pawn, 2-dimensional storage.
Well,
to pull out
Skelebots and Coalition
already.
Maybe see. Yeah, but like, for instance, what about skeletons and zombies that might be raised? Do you really want to buy and paint all those? Do you have the time? Do you have the money? Right. So this is a very
only if you already have.
Right. But this is a great way to
open up your box of Hero
It's
Quest
very
and
inexpensive.
take out all those existing skeletons. But
Right. But no, this is a great way. Like you said, this is a great way to do it, and there's no painting necessary. Right. I mean, I guess you could paint it if you wanted to, but I don't think you need to, because we had people do a great job.
Just to keep plugging on this, pawn art also is very easy to put onto a virtual tabletop. If you could have the nicest mini in the world, you can't put that mini onto your Foundry game, right? You can't get it that way. But pawn art goes right onto the virtual tabletop.
Well, and that's the other thing that's really cool too, because the art you're seeing, the work we're doing, it also transfers over to the virtual tabletop, which, by the way, are the team we have with Dr. Amy Marshall and the great team that's working on this stuff. Shout out to you guys because you do really awesome work. I've been very impressed with everything that's been released for virtual tabletop, for both Foundry and Roll20 for Rifts for Savage Worlds. And I've seen a lot of stuff that's coming up. It's really cool. And this also, you're seeing, this is a preview of the art that's in those modules as well, right? Mm-hmm. So all of this is helping to flesh out not just the battle maps you get or the pawns you get in physical form, but the tokens that you're going to see on the virtual tabletops, the battle maps you're going to see on the virtual tabletops. It's all real great. It goes really far on how much it's going to really, I think, change your gameplay experience. It takes a little. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say they combo really well because when you have the archetype someone's using,
you have the exact same pawn right there on the map. Yep. So that's the other nice thing too, right?
Back what I said about miniatures for PCs. Use pawns too for that.
Well, I think especially for a new player, right?
Yeah.
Especially for a newer player, I think that's great.
This is accessibility right here. This is something where you as a GM can gather up 3 to 6 of your buds. They can have no experience and no preparation. And that you just say, hey, listen, let's get together Friday night. And here you go. It's already done. Here's a dossier. Here's a little pawn. The map's on the table. And you get right to the good stuff, right? You're going right to game.
Yeah, right. They're all things that help onboard people.
Yes, yeah, and I think that's one of the first things I noticed. I was designing this, and I printed up a version before the final one that you see in print, right? And I took it to Expedition Deadwood, and people were immediately like, "I'm in." They chose their characters super fast because there's that combination of the visuals, the descriptive text, and they could just read the quote, see the picture, read the quote and the character's name. They knew it was going on, and then they were very comfortable going in and reading at least the basics of their equipment or the power names, and it all works really well. And it's very inviting. So,
especially for Rifts too, because like even just the size difference, it's hard to communicate how really big some of these things are if you don't like. Okay, this mini is this big and this pawn is this big. That's the size difference, people. It's not, we were careful to try to really get those as close as we could.
No, we worked very hard on this. Our pawn wizards, like Jess, did an amazing job. I mean, you can see with this one, for instance, right here is a glitter boy. This is a dragon hatchling in full dragon form, right? And then you have your human-sized characters as opposed to, say, the Borg, right? So, yeah, it's great because you can see it all on the table. Rad. And the other thing is you don't have to explain to somebody what a juicer, a crazy, a cyber knight, a glitter boy is, a combat cyborg. You throw these archetype cards and the pawns down on the table in front of them, everyone starts to get a real quick feel of what everything that's going on is. And it's definitely one of those cases where it feels like a picture is worth 1,000 words.
It's true. And Rifts is so rich in that manner, right? Like, there's not like people understand the Western, right? All the tropes are they've been the tea of that. They've been stewing in that for since birth, like movies and everything. Rifts is its own thing, right? There's nothing else that they can learn about Rifts from except Rifts because it's so much of a compilation of different things. Right. So getting that communicated easily is a challenge, but it's a fun one because that's where all the fun is, right? The fun is in that it is Baroque in how much detail there is and how much new mythos and storytelling and world building there is, and so being able to be like, yes, here's some dossiers so you can get an idea of like well, what's a crazy? Because that's a concept that's not super common to other forms of RPGs. You need, here you go. Here's a picture. Here's an explanation. I love the art of the crazy too. Like her face is just so like, I love it. But
well, yeah, and it is tough, and it's something that's not easy to describe, and that's what I think is the special thing about Rifts for people that haven't encountered it before or haven't really drove into the lore, is that you come for the science fantasy playground. Mm-hmm. but you stay for the unique world building and characters and heroes and villains, right, that are unforgettable. There's a reason that Jerry Bruckheimer told Kevin Siembieda, Jerry Bruckheimer, the famous movie producer, told Kevin Siembieda, the creator of Rifts, he said, "I want this to be my Star Wars." Unfortunately, they never were able to put together what they needed to for a Rifts movie, which would have needed a great script. But but anyways, no, this is really exciting. We're super excited for everyone to be receiving this stuff. If you haven't picked it up yet, get it now. We've got, again, if you need a second or third pawn set. Sorry, my green screen does weird stuff, but yeah, honestly, they're really good. But yeah, get one. See if you want a few more Coalition soldiers. That's why I think that's the thing is I wanted to make sure that we had a little more breadth in the things that we covered. I didn't want to put in 10 Coalition soldiers and then not include the Zytikic. So that was kind of the reasoning behind that. But this is I call it a Megapon set because it has Megapon. 12 sheets instead of 8 like the ones for Deadlands. So I mean, it's just you're getting a lot of bang for your buck when you pick this up. The other thing is that we do have all this, like I said, really great material coming. The team is working actively. We're working hard on an update for the rules of SavageRifts to help.
It's not just mythology; it's real.
Bring them in line with the newest update for Savage Worlds Adventure Edition, which we really love, and we want to make sure we do it right. And sometimes that means with our approaches that certain material might go into a new book, certain material might come out as an update and a PDF, certain material might need to wait for the future or come in some other format, like say the Savaging Your Favorite Rifts Ideas free PDF. I know a lot of people have been asking about, for instance, what about the Superpowers companion? How do we use that? And we want to make sure you can kind of figure it out, especially with the sidebar that I have, I think on page 8 or 10 of the Tomorrow Legion Player's Guide about bringing in heroes from other Savage World settings. But we do want to give you some more nuanced guidance in the near future. But beyond that, like we've talked about, we will be having a Kickstarter that's going to contain Terror on the Dark Frontier, Land of 1,000 Islands, Pawn Set 2, and archetype cards and maps, battle maps, and a South America map. And the Terror box will also have a map of the Coalition Frontier / Comanche Preserve claimed regions. It's going to be a lot of fun. We have a lot of great stuff coming on the Pinnacle side. Also on the Palladium side, I want to make sure I put this out there and announce. I'm finishing up work on the Titan Robotics manuscript. And if you're not familiar with it, that's Archie and Hagon have created a robot manufacturing company to act as their kind of eyes and ears in the world, and this is the coming of that. The really fun part about it is I've kicked up some of the ideas that Matthew Clements had already worked on, and we have basically a new play paradigm. You can play as a Titan Robotics courier team. So the Titan courier teams actually feature synthoroids. They are realistic human replica androids that work as undercover agents as part of courier teams and then other missions and stuff like that. You could do that one-off, or you could play in that new paradigm as a courier team that turns Rifts more into something that includes a lot of industrial espionage, learning the secrets about Titan Robotics and maybe the Shimerians and Archie and things like that. Getting into skullduggery with the Coalition, Northern Gun, the Manastique Imperium, and then of all the crazy rift stuff that happens, right? And you can also play as a Titan Dispatcher, which is a team leader. And so those characters are something I think really unique and fun in as well to be added to Rifts. They're all about the cover story. They're all about the subterfuge and getting a team in and out without anyone realizing what that courier team might be up to. Because courier sounds innocuous, but these guys really do whatever is necessary, right? And the cool thing about that, I already talked to Shane and Kevin. We are going to, when that is coming to Kickstarter soon. As soon as I finish the manuscript, I'll be readying up the Kickstarter, firing that up, and we are going to make sure that you have a Savage Worlds. Anyone who backs this is going to get a free PDF, not free, right? You have to back it. Is going to get a PDF of all the things converted to use for Savage Worlds, because this book has right now 100 manuscript pages of robot vehicles. Amazing art by Mike Majestic on the cover, Stephen Cummings and Chuck Walton for a whole new bevy of robot vehicles and power armor, some focused on the core Titan robotics of exploration and combat and assault. Others focused on combating threats like the Zytikic or demons. Tons of new weapons and armor, and lots of secrets and campaign ideas that I think any Rifts fan will love. And the reason we're doing this is that I actually had fans at the Palladium Open House who prefer to play using Savage Worlds rules. Just say, hey, we think this is a great idea. Other people are like, yes, I love this idea. We really want to be able to use this sometime soon and not have to wait for a whole revolution of world books, right, before we can use this cutting-edge new material. And so I'm really excited about that, and we think that the Rifts fans will really enjoy that. And that should be very soon. That is, I'm currently trying to finish the book, right? The art's done. I put in one more... a couple more art requests because of something crazy that I came up with. But
it feels so different than how we did things, having the art done before the book is done.
It's cool because
how we did things.
It is very different, right? Because in SavageRifts, we're working with very established material in general, unless we're filling in some of these timelines and stuff. But that's actually one of my favorite things about working here with Kevin is we're working with the artists. They're bringing in this really creative art, and then we're integrating it into what we're bringing to y'all. And so that's really having the artist be a big part of the creative process, and especially really great artists like Chuck Walton or Stephen Cummings has just been awesome to get to work on that kind of stuff. And the stuff that Mike Majestic is working on for Coalition Arsenal is going to blow people's minds. But no, and this book too, I think people are going to go nuts when they see a lot of this. But along with that, that's going to be coming very soon. After I finish that, I'm going to be, there's already work done and a lot of art done for the Rifts Bestiary 2. I'll be slamming into that and plowing through Bestiary 2 and 3 to make sure that they're good to go and going to be really kick-ass books. And then Kevin his next big thing is going to be after making sure that I have everything I need because he wants to do a couple of things that haven't been written yet for Bestiary 2. He is going to be bringing Rifts Antarctica to final fruition, which has an amazing cover already by John Zlesnik. You can check it out in the Rifter 85. As well as we have a lot of information there.
John Zalesnik, maybe you've heard of him.
Maybe you've heard of him. He's only done
some guy.
Palladium's covers. So, and I think that's going to be an amazing book as well. And both of these manuscripts, the initial manuscript was by the illustrious Matthew Clements, and he does a great job. He's given us so much to work with. Kevin and I really enjoy riffing off of his ideas and punching them up, polishing them up, and bringing them to you guys. So I think that's combined with Terror on the Dark Frontier and South America and Land of a Thousand Islands, South America. I think this is a sweet year to be a Rifts fan. And if you haven't checked it out, definitely check out Rifter 85, which I worked on. Johnny Rocha has an article in there. I think I'm a little biased, but one of the best ones. But no, he and there's a lot of great work on in that book. If you enjoyed the Glitter Boys and explaining Glitter Boy lore, and also Coalition Manhunters is just stellar. So,
All right, so final question, guys. I mean, there's so much stuff coming out. Let's start with PK, and we'll work our way back around to Sean can finish up. So, PK, of all the stuff that's out there that's coming up, what's the one thing you're looking forward to?
Well, I realize this is self-aggrandizing, but I can't help it, man. South America is the book that I wanted to write. The very first thing that kind of got my attention of Sean's was me coming to him and saying, Sean, I want to write South America. And I heard from him much later, and he's like, look, I got a team, and I'd like you to write part of it. I'm like, I'm down.
What's the one thing in South America that you're most excited for people to get their hands on?
Which I think maybe the only it's actually atypical, but there's an area called the Silver River Republics, and that has always been by far my favorite part of South America. And it's interesting because it's not, for most people, it's a different part, but there's this little collection of nations that just kind of go down the edge there on the East Coast, and they have this really complex relationship with each other, and they're all sort of competing with each other and have this little web of alliances and hate, and Sean basically said, we're going to be upgrading this to the new 109 PA, and so some conflicts that were simmering have gone hot, and it has let a lot of interesting alliances and enmities form, and I feel like the Silver River Republics is an area that sort of is a microcosm for how South America now has this interesting web where A is allied with B, and B is allied with C, but A and C hate each other. But it makes sense, and so it makes a really complex situation.
Oh, love it. Looking excited for it. So, Aaron, of all the stuff coming out, what's your favorite, and what are you hoping that people are going to get a good look at? What are you excited about?
I am excited about Terror. I guess I'm going to show myself since John's not here and Ross isn't here. I'm excited for Terror. Terror is going to be really interesting. It puts a lot of stuff that is the horror element that is a big part of Rifts in Palladium and has not really gotten a lot of spotlight in SavageRifts. And doing it in a box set is going to give lets us get real deep into it. And there's a lot of stuff about well, what is horror? Well, when you're a glitter boy or a juicer or a dragon hatchling. And we open some of that up to be well, there's different dimensions to horror. Horror is different things and people, and we're going to try to hit all those stressor buttons.
That's so good. That's so
well,
good.
And I just, if you want to consider it this way, I wrote the final boss battle, right? So I had written it as something separate, and then John came to me with his ideas for the early part of the campaign, and then we expanded it, and we're really greatly excited to have Aaron and Ross Watson come in to help work on this stuff. This is a really cool campaign, and I think Aaron has done a really good job. And I think you guys are gonna really enjoy it and love it. Yeah.
Can I just throw in that as part of playtesting this, I can personally assure you, Aaron, that the dragon hatchling in our party has felt fear, and by that I mean the player has felt fear.
Nailed it.
The dragon has absolutely retreated and regrouped from issues. I promise.
That's fantastic.
Wonderful. Perfect. Yeah, no, and that was that's interesting that you mentioned that, Aaron, because that was the number one thing that when Shane and I talked about it, we said, well, we want to make something that's very quintessentially Rifts, and it's like the portion to the Game Master's Guide that I added for the second edition was high octane horror. How do you do horror right in Rifts? And this is going to be I don't know if it's a master class, but I think some people might consider it such. I think it's a really great, if you look at it structurally, you could look at it and I think learn a lot as a GM, even if it's just through osmosis on how to do that kind of stuff right. Yeah.
Hot damn. Good. Johnny, up to you, buddy. What's the thing you're most looking forward to coming out and excited for? Besides you without a shirt on, because we need to do another actual play.
We could do this right now.
You were so great on that actual play, dude. And if you guys haven't checked it out, you gotta check out the SavageRifts actual play that we did. It was so amazing. That's
the real thing I'm looking forward to is just playing Odie in other formats. No, I feel like I should be shilling for. Look, he even looks like me. Shilling for
really
South America as well, because I loved writing it. I've loved playing it forever. One of my favorite moments from writing this was when we were updating everything to 109 PA, and PK and I are doing this like conspiracy theorizing where we're talking about like, oh, if these people did this and this, and we're just jumping back and forth with what really has happened. You know, the whole continent is at war, and obviously a lot of PK's writing was focused on southern half of the continent. Mine was focused on the northern half. Everything's at war. You know, like all of these wars that were brewing in the 103, 104 PA version, the war is on now, right? There's focused on Lagarto and the war, and there's more developing into the vampire wars. So the whole northern half of the continent is at war. Half of the southern half of the continent is at war. So doing that conspiracy theorizing and making that dynamic for players to get into. This book, in addition to all the cool, all the cool gear and all the cool iconic frameworks and all the cool edges, there's also just about 1,000 ways for the players to jump into any of these conflicts on any side of them, in any level of involvement in them. There's so many conflicts happening. It's not just one big universal, like PK said, it's not just everyone's on one side versus everyone on the other and the lines are clear. There's 1,000 miniature conflicts, and having all of those ways for PCs to jump in. This is an adventure-dense setting. So as much as I love that, the thing I'm actually looking forward to the most is Terror, because I love horror GMing and I love scaring my players, and I love having players call me, 3 nights later, tell me they woke up from a nightmare from what happened in the game 3 days ago. And Terror's just going to give me that by the bucket full, and I'm just really excited to run it. So it's more exciting to me personally
because you took your shirt off. So
they were because I put it back on. Okay, let's not. So I'm really
hey, manliness, Johnny Racha.
Yeah, well, and just to I know that Ross isn't here, but one of the things I do want to say is that I think one of the things that Ross really brought to the table was a lot of personal stories and ideas for personal stories and conflict and depth and character development that you're going to see both in Terror on the Dark Frontier and The Land of Thousand Islands. And that's what I think really that's what role-playing is about, right? Is bringing these stories back down, having unique experiences that you can't reproduce. And similar to the way that I think that Terror is a really great sandbox, right, for people to explore and really zoom in on Rift's Earth. Similarly, if you're a fan to how an old school fan, how Juicer Uprising really zoomed in on Kingsdale and stuff, El Dorado. Not that we have exactly the same kind of maps or something. We're still working on a lot of that stuff, so not sure exactly how the final details on those are going to go. But the whole point is that zoomed-in view of everything that's happening, the drama that's happening. With South America, too, the team worked really hard on equipment, right? It's not just, hey, here's a laser pistol. Oh, that's just another rifle, right? So the team worked really hard to make sure that we've got plenty of details that fit the art and the lore and the who made this, right? Was it made in Colombia? Was it made in Silver River Republics, right? Was it made by the Amaki? These are things that I think are going to be really neat. Is that similar to some people may not know this, Atlantis and the Demon Seas has as much equipment as the original Tomorrow Legion Player's Guide, and you could outfit and kit out and run tons of stuff with just that book. The same thing I think will be very true of South America. You're going to have virtually everything you need to run a, maybe depending on who you want your vibro weapons manufactured by or something.
You have choices
or the variety of vibro weapons you want or something like that. But, in general, that's the really great thing here is that this book also has so much new, cool, iconic heroes to play as, iconic villains to battle. I mean, we didn't even talk about the Lord of the Deep and that little subplot that's in there, right? Mm-hmm. We've got all types of really cool monsters. And
referring to the Lord of the Deep as a little subplot.
Well, he's a big one in here,
sir.
But he's only terrorizing a small city-state in this book. So, right.
It's a matter of scale.
Ocean.
It's a matter of scale. It was only 1,000 people dragged to the deep and absorbed by.
Yeah. What are 1,000 lives to Lord Splinter?
Nothing. Right. So
you tell me how many other villains have an entire iconic framework that manifested to fight only them.
Right, that's true. That's a good point. But no, I think that again, this is one of those books that if you're new to Savage World or new to Rifts, right? We don't care if you play with Savage Worlds or play with Palladium rules. We want you to have fun. We think this book will be really helpful for anybody to be able to run great adventures, have great lore updates that are all canon, and really enjoy the heck out of playing some Rifts. And again, we're doing as much as we can to cross the streams to make sure that everybody has everything they need to play. So we really hope that you guys enjoyed this, and we appreciate you taking the time to listen to the interview.
Yeah, and we'll have you guys back more as we get closer to the campaign, because it's going to be a Rift-sized campaign. I mean, it's just there's so much goodness in here that there's much more to talk about. So we will have you guys back as we get closer. But check out the guys at GenCon, folks, because that's coming up here real quick, and so you can meet some people in person and say hi, get some autographs, and then other than that, look, keep your eyes on all the channels. Go sign up for the Palladium YouTube, the Savage World YouTube, the Twitch, the everything. So you'll be in the loop on. We have newsletters. Sign up for the newsletter, so you will be in on the loop when we launch these things.
Palladium,
right?
Yep.
We have Kickstarters for you galore coming up from actual Palladium and from Pinnacle. I'm really excited about all the stuff you guys are working on. I'm really glad we were finally getting able to show everybody all this great stuff.
Yes.
And we knew we couldn't separate it out and make people wait a couple more months between the two big Rift stuff, because there's so much more Rifts to be savaged. It's amazing. So we're gonna let everybody get back to work on doing that, because there are so many projects they're doing stuff we can't even tell you about now. So. Yeah, with that, cheers, folks. See these guys at Gen Con, and we'll be in touch soon on when those Kickstarters are launched. So, peace out, everybody.